Hi guys, welcome back to the Azure Flame Tarot channel. Today we're going to be going over the energies that are coming in from this solar eclipse that we're having. As you know, usually what I do is lunar readings on this channel. I will be doing other readings too, just to kind of show what other kind of readings I do on my Etsy and whatnot, but I'm not going to turn this into a big commercial. Basically, this is a lunar reading too in a way, right? This is like the last eclipse that we had, which was a lunar eclipse. From our perspective on Earth, the sun and moon meet, right? Now we talked about last time how, and in this case, the sun and moon really are closer than during the lunar eclipse we just had in November. Now, we talked last time about the lunar apogee and perigee, how, you know, when you're having a super moon, it's at its perigee, it's closer to the Earth, and when it's a micromoon, it's an apogee. We just had its conjunct the apogee. When we're having this eclipse right now, it was just technically like an exact supermoon or something very close to it yesterday, so on the 3rd. Because you guys are going to be seeing this on the 4th, I'm doing this pretty close on the evening of the 3rd before the energies, or as the energy is very close to coming in. It's probably going to be uploading right in the middle or processing right in the middle of the actual eclipse. That's going to be around from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US. So we're not going to be actually seeing the solar eclipse happening, but we're still going to be feeling it because it is a global event. You're probably going to be able to see some pictures of it and videos of it tomorrow on social media. So yeah, or today for you guys who are seeing it right now. So basically what's happening is we're looking at this in astrological, not strictly astronomical terms. Astrology plays a part. You know, things like the apogee and perigee, those are astrological and astronomical terms too. Right now, we are actually farther away from, because of the axial tilt, we're a bit farther away from the sun's rays. We're not getting exactly hit by it, but we're closer in terms of the perihelion and aphelion. So there's a lot of things going on as to what would make us closer or farther away from the sun. During a lunar eclipse, the moon's actually kind of on the opposite side, and it's the Earth's shadow that's being cast from the sun that's making it look like this eclipse. But from our visual perspective, it's just like the retrograde planets, right? They're not actually going backwards, but they feel backwards and they have a backwards energy because that's how we look at it in the sky. So for us, we're in any kind of eclipse, the sun and moon energies are coming together. In any micromoon, regardless of where it is in terms of astronomy, closer or farther away from the sun, it's going to be looking like it's coming away from the Earth and going up closer to the sun because it's not looking as close to us as it does during a supermoon. Right now, we do have that supermoon though. So the reason I bring this up is to not get too caught up in the technicalities of the actual astrophysics. Those are important details. They're important to know to understand our universe, but from a spiritual perspective, we're looking at these like Jungian, like Carl Jungian archetypes, like symbolism, esotericism, those sorts of things. And from that perspective, no matter what kind of eclipse we have, the sun and moon are going to be meeting again. So what does that mean? That means that for this reading, we're having another meeting of the sun and moon again. The last time they did, the moon was closer to the heavens from our perspective on Earth. Now the moon, even though we don't really see it during a new moon, the energy is felt closer to us. So you remember that basket analogy? That basket's coming right back around. And now is our turn to really empty ourselves of things because it's going to be conjunct the south node too at this time. The south node of the moon. What you're going to want to do is release anything that no longer serves. You've probably, if you watch as many channels or like look at as many channels as I do that give tips for how to help with manifesting during the lunar and solar cycles and the astrological cycles, always take what resonates, because they're going to have different information based on different things. Almost all of them, despite their differences, right now, from what I can tell, are saying there's going to be a lot of releasing going on to let the blessings that come in from this solar energy come in. So we're going to see if that shows up in this reading. We'll just dive right into it to not waste too much more time here. I'm going to go ahead with the Wildwood Tarot here. I always put in the description of the videos what cards I'm using, what decks I'm using, if that's of any interest to anybody. Okay. Yeah. Transition. Yeah. I'm hoping that that's showing up good. There we go. Sorry. This happens sometimes where it's just like, there we go. Where it's just thinking. It's like the cards are thinking. What do we want to say? What's coming in with this solar eclipse? And okay, there we go. That's what I thought. Yeah, I like that. Sorry. I'm going to shuffle that some more. So it feels like that wants to come out, but I don't like that it's like, okay. Okay. So we've got the arrows in this deck are the same as swords, and then bows are the wands in this deck. So we've got the 6 of arrows transition. Right, so this is going to be, and it's interesting because these both have moons, and then the mirror here is actually not the moon, it is the Hanged Man. So, and you can see it kind of, it's, because this is based on like supposedly a theme of the deck where at this point in time you wouldn't have had hangings and executions. It's instead a man who's being kind of, it's the corpse, it's the man who's being sent out as like a funerary rite on the water. And there's some reflective elements. I'll get into that in just a moment. The actual moon card in this deck is called Moon on the Water. So there's like an interesting reflective element. And then we've got the moon here as well. I like when that happens because not all of these cards have moons in them, obviously. But because we're dealing with lunar and solar energies, we get like this sunlight reflecting on the smoke or clouds here. And we get 2 lunar images. I like that. And I think there's a sun right there in the background. So it's, we got that nice energy. I like that that came up. 6 of arrows transition. So we talk about emptying the basket, purging of things. A lot of times people will say, do a lot of cleaning, get all your stuff in order, purge anything that no longer serves, any fears, bad habits, things like that. This is like a walking away from or rowing away from anything that isn't healthy for you anymore, is what I'm seeing. And because oftentimes, you know, the moon can be intuition, it can also be like subconscious fears because it dictates the subconscious. I feel like this is leaving behind fears. And we even see like a little bit of I feel like that's a sunrise. It's actually in the western part, so it probably is sunset, but intuitively reading this, I'm looking at it as like a sunrise. And it's just leaving behind, because it feels like that, right? It feels like, okay, here's the nighttime that he's leaving behind, and he's coming in through, and like technically it can be any direction, right? It's not like the east is never on your left side, depending on what direction you're facing, but in the cards, generally the right is east and the left is west, just for like imagery and symbolism. But for right now, I'm looking at it as like a new beginning, which is starting because this person is leaving something behind that no longer serves. And then we've got like this rebirth coming right after transition, right? You see like these cups pouring into this like bigger, almost cauldron shaped thing. and like an overflowing. 8 of vessels. 8 of Cups usually shows somebody kind of walking away too, but this one doesn't show anybody. It shows like an overflowing of joy. So it's almost like saying that because you were able to let go of something, some kind of emotionally difficult thing, fears, that you were able to have this overwhelming joy come through. Because sometimes fears and anxieties and pain can really suppress our joy, and we don't even realize that there's this joy that wants to be released from within that's been kind of held down by these other things going on inside of us. And I feel here that it's almost like, and I get almost like a hermit type imagery with this heron here with the little lantern. And yet like there's this companion here with this like fishy tail. I feel like it's like a combining of like a meditative mind with clear emotions, like understanding your emotions, using your meditative mind to understand your emotions and let die whatever no longer serves so that you can have this new perspective. That's pretty lovely. And then Knight of Arrows. So that's the Knight of Swords. And it shows a hawk. That's like really very, I mean, hawks are very devoted. They're very family-like birds. A lot of times people don't know that, but so it's not necessarily having to be all by yourself. Like this hermit-like figure isn't completely by yourself. You don't have to like leave behind everything that matters to you, but it's about knowing that you're sovereign in yourself and you value and honor yourself enough that you're willing to fly away from anything that is treating you wrong. This is, and like having the power, this is like empowerment, not necessarily power over others, right? It's because this hawk is all by himself or herself, or themself, I suppose. I am called to really talk about the smoke and the pine tree here, because that's like an evergreen tree. It's like immortality. What's immortal is the soul. You know, the fire is often like a symbolism of the soul as well. And I'm also, I don't know why, but I'm getting the sense like because this is like right next to this. Have you ever seen those movies where like they'll push a body out on the water and then this person with like an arrow with fire on it will like shoot the arrow out onto the corpse on the water, and then the boat will be on fire, and then eventually it'll submerge. It's like a funerary rite. It's like honor. So I'm seeing honor almost twice here with the hawk imagery, and that it's because it's like they're right next to each other like this. And it's like, and we have rebirth literally right here. It's like letting go of this old, and it might not even necessarily literally be that somebody has died. I'm getting a specific message that maybe for somebody you have had a loved one recently die. I know that some people close to me have, but maybe somebody who follows me who I don't know very well, that resonates for you too. And it's like trying to remind you to reflect on what it was that this person meant to you, and what can you carry of this person inside of your heart. She's got like this mirror facing her heart here. Like you take on characteristics of the people that you love unconsciously. What part of this person that you've lost is immortalized in your own spirit now? You know, and that's for anybody who's suffered any kind of loss. What is the good that you can carry with you from this situation while leaving the pain and the grief and trauma from anything you've been through, bad habits, everything that needs to be let go of at this time, and like almost be reborn anew as this like very valiant hawk, right? You go forward bravely into the future, even though you know that some things aren't certain. Some things are though, you know, some things are forever, like this evergreen trees, like the soul, that's forever. Like I've said it before, I know not everybody is necessarily believes in those metaphysical things, but I'm assuming it's true because those are my beliefs, and you know, I'm running a spiritual channel. It's totally fine if that doesn't resonate for everybody. Take what does resonate. I'm gonna pull these last just because those are a bit bigger cards. gonna get some more clarification from my Bibliomancy cards. These are not the fanciest looking cards, but I handmade them with quotes from books that I picked out with Bibliomancy, and then I turned them into cards so that I could pull them out kind of quickly. Yep. What wants to come through? Yeah. So yeah, I did want to say something more, I think. Okay, I'll get to that in a sec. That's back of the deck energy. Didn't do back of the deck with this. Yeah, Six of Bows, abundance. See? And then we've got the fire here too, kind of coming back again. I'm seeing this as like, right, I mean, it's just a reiteration of much of what was already being said. It's when you let go of the fears, subconsciously bad habits, the pain, all of those things, it strips down everything that is superficial and doesn't matter, and it leaves behind what does matter, you know, the soul, love, those things last when they're real. Gosh, that's interesting. So we've got this thing, all things devours, birds, beasts, trees, flowers, gnaws iron, bites steel, grinds hard stones to meal, slays king, ruins town, and beats high mountain down. And the answer to that riddle is time. This was from The Hobbit. And then we got hunger is the best cook. I think that's Jiminy Cricket to Pinocchio. Or somebody to Pinocchio. Take off your hat, the King of Hearts. It isn't mine, says the Hatter. Stolen, the king to the jury. I keep them to sell. I've none of my own. I'm a hatter. That's interesting because we're talking about leaving things alone. I think this was actually not, this might have been from the movie and not from the book, because I've taken a few, like 2 or 3 of these cards in this big thing I took from paused at certain times, like 333, 888, 999, and just having the movie playing while that time. 999 wouldn't be a time, but like, you get what I'm saying. I had them at specific times. 444 would be one. And kind of just pause and it's like, what was going on in that moment? Take down a quote that resonates. And then we have, most unfortunately in the lives of puppets, there is always a but that spoils everything. That's also Pinocchio. Yeah. So I think for a lot of people, what's being released right now is a feeling of despair, a feeling of focusing on the misfortunes in life instead of the opportunities that come. Because Six of Bows is Six of Wands. That's often the victory card. It's something going right for you is the overall underlying energy of the tarot here. And then we have on the back of this, that was Flint's treasure that we had come so far to seek, and that had cost already the lives of 17 men from the Hispaniola. How many had it cost in the amassing? What blood, sorrow, what good ships scuttled on the deep, what brave men walking the plank blindfold, what shot of cannon, what shame, lies, cruelty, perhaps no man alive could tell. And that's Jim from Treasure Island. Yeah, I'm seeing this as being like prioritizing what matters here, because it was like so many good things were left behind, all for the sake of treasure, for the sake of gold, when the real treasure in that case was the people who had been lost. Yeah. And in the lives of puppets, I'm seeing this as being like about maybe leaving behind anything that makes you feel like you're not able to be your authentic self. Because when you're giving up your authenticity in order to appease or be part of some kind of group or something, what ends up happening is you feel like oh, I got whatever it was I was looking for. I got this approval. I got this maybe apparent caricature of security. But it's, you know, there's this but. And the but is, you're not happy anyway. You know, you thought that that's what would make you happy, but it didn't. And I think that this eclipse season is all about letting go of what you thought would make you happy that didn't. And really tuning into your heart about what does make you happy. You know, this guy is saying, he has all these objects. He's like, take off your hat. It isn't mine. I have none of my own. I'm a hatter. I make things for people, is what he's saying. You know, there's something kind of profound in this. You know, he's saying that what his life's purpose is, his vocation, is to provide something for other people, to give something. You have a reason for being here. What is it that you do that speaks to people or that connects you with something more important in your life, to you, to something deeper, more spiritually profound, more bringing a deeper, lasting joy because you're doing something meaningful with your life that overrides any of the difficulties. What is that for you? What is it that makes you feel like, if I don't have to keep this thing in my hands, I still have this joy because I'm doing something, I'm giving something that makes me feel like, yeah, this is what matters. You know? This is the good life, is giving these hats away and watching people be happy because they got something that I made from the bottom of my heart, from my passion. You know, and I know that for a lot of people that might not always put bread on the table, so you do something to whatever extent you can. Like this, I love doing this. This is not the only thing I do. I don't get paid to do these YouTube videos. I'm not monetized. But, you know, it's providing insights that I hope help. It's doing something that I love. And I do hope someday to be able to do what I love. Something that I truly love full time and just focus on only that for work. But, you know, the point is, even if that doesn't happen, you can say, hey, at least I don't regret trying. I don't regret trying and making the time for this in my spare time. I don't regret trying. And if it's not a vocation, maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's reconciling with an old family member who you haven't talked to in years. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe you're needing to walk away from that because, you know, sometimes blood is not thicker than water to some people and they don't always treat their loved ones right, and you need to walk away from that. Maybe you're needing to reflect and say, oh, actually, I don't want time to run out. You know, it's going to be different things for different people, since this is a, you know, broad audience, and different things are going to resonate for different people. But definitely you're getting this collective energy of needing to leave some things behind that do not make you happy, that do not let you be your authentic self. And in other cases, needing to leave behind maybe some ego or some misconceptions about what would really make you happy, putting your pride aside in order to really connect, you know, see the reflection of yourself and the people who matter to you, and see the reflection of them in you. Really do something that matters. You know, do something from a place of deep love, whether that's career, a relationship, whatever it is for you. Do something that comes from love. And I think that's a beautiful representation of what Sagittarius means, is authenticity. That is the one word that really comes through for me when I think of Sagittarius, so that's perfect for this eclipse. Hunger is the best cook. And this is going into saying, you know, we were just talking about doing something that you're passionate about. And I was saying that, you know, sometimes that passion doesn't always put the food on the table. Well, it does if you're willing to work hard because you've got no other choice, you know, maybe, and there's so many ways to be hungry, right? You work hard to put food on the table. And I'm not going to get too much into the politics of everything. I know for a lot of people right now, you don't have any choice in the matter because maybe you're living in a part of the world where there's more lockdowns, and maybe you're not getting compensated for the time where you're being told you're not allowed to work. And I totally understand that that's difficult. This is no shame on anybody dealing with something outside of their control. Try to figure out what you can, though. You know, don't despair. Look for any kind of help that you can. Hunger is the best cook. Having need, either material need or spiritual need, makes you have to kind of sit down with yourself and say, okay, what do I got to do differently? You know, hunger is the best cook. If you're hungry for a happier life, if you've done everything right, but you're still not happy with something, if something feels amiss, that hunger should lead you to want to cook something better for your life. You know, put another plate down on the table. Something else was missing from this feast of your life. And then time, right? Because on the one hand, you have all the time in the world with this evergreen, because your soul has all the time in the world to learn lessons. You know, there are some things that are always going to be reflected within your heart and soul. Nothing really truly is lost forever. Matter and energy can't be destroyed, only transformed. And yet, we have to become comfortable with paradoxes sometimes in spirituality, right? Because you have all the time in the world and yet you don't. So be patient, but don't be complacent. I think that is the message here. Be patient with yourself and with the people you love, but don't be complacent. It's like a balancing. And that's, you know, what happens when you have the sun and the moon coming together. They're the opposites of each other in a way, right? They're the two luminaries and they're different, but they come together and they represent truths about our life, that there are some things that are opposite and yet they're both true in different ways. So I like that. I'm going to go ahead and take some spiritual guidance. Oh, it's always hard to cut the deck. Oh my goodness, I'm just gonna... It's big. It's a big deck. Okay, I think that's probably cut well enough. Oh my goodness. I have some decks that I can like shuffle and do a riffle and bridge and all that stuff. Not these. These are way too big. And it's okay. I mean, it's so you can see the art well, but they are not designed for... Oh, that wanted to come out. These both seem to want to come out. Have courage. Yeah. Synchronize with lunar time and energy. Okay. And then we get these like fiery, almost comparably solar energy. Again, intuitively reading here in the background. That's freaking awesome. I love when that happens. Oh my goodness. Oh. Oh. Man. Don't friggin' do that to me. Clarifying this last one. Comfort. Okay. Okay, I'll work with that. Synchronizing with lunar time and energy. Yeah, I mean, this is what I do with my channel. This is what we're here for, is about synchronizing with lunar time. Thank you very much. That might have other meaning for you. Again, I'm seeing it almost like this moon is shining very brightly. This is a winged creature. I'm seeing like almost, again, that personal empowerment. They got the fire as a torch in the hand right there. It's like guiding your way in the night, having that personal freedom again. And then have courage, right? Because we were talking about time here and how it's like you have patience with yourself, but also have the courage to take those steps forward. Bittersweet farewell. You know, it's almost like I'm feeling like this is like a baby dragon, right? And now we've got like this older dragon here. And right, this is like grandmother, and she's like a lady here. I feel like, and she's not actually very old, but like, you know, maybe in like the immortal sense. And this is I comfort you, and she's got like this butterfly in her hand. I'm seeing this as like maybe a few possible different things. We've got Venus in retrograde coming up pretty soon after this. And I feel like this is temporary because you see like these autumn leaves in the background, and then it goes into winter. Like autumn and winter don't end forever. For some people, we're getting that death imagery again. Bittersweet farewell for those who had the hanged man, the mirror in this deck. And that like funerary pyre energy that I was getting. I almost didn't want to read this because I was like, I didn't want this. I didn't want to have to rub salt in anybody's wounds right now. But I gotta read it as it comes. I'm seeing for some people it is, at least in terms of this physical earth, a permanent farewell. And this is almost like triggering me a bit, making me think of some people I lost around this time last year in November. Some kids who I used to teach had died. And, you know, for some people it's, you know, there are some permanent farewells, but for others I'm seeing with the imagery of fall, it goes into winter, but then it'll go into spring again, and then how there's like this maturing energy going on. That maybe you had said a farewell or you're having a recent farewell, but it's like temporary. It's just until either situations improve or there's like more maturity. Like maybe the last time you said goodbye to somebody was because there was a lack of, something hadn't matured yet that needed to. And then now it is. And it's like, have comfort because this transformation has taken place. The caterpillar is now a butterfly. So for some people there is a reunion coming, but for some people we do get this death energy with Tatsuya here, this like black dragon. And for some people it's going to be that you had a loss recently and it's very difficult for you, but you know, take comfort because you know, the soul lasts forever, like that pine tree that we saw. Your soul is evergreen, as that beautiful song by Ed Sheeran goes. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave that at that. And so much love and light to those of you who have lost somebody recently. And they're on the other side now. Because I am feeling that grief energy kind of coming in from that. So I empathize, and I just hang in there, guys. For the others of you, there is some wild, pure heart, right? There's a reunion coming around. This is that older dragon, and almost like a rebirth energy. We get the butterfly wings again. So there's something beautiful happening for some people where something that didn't, there was a temporary goodbye in the past, maybe because of pandemic restrictions, for many, many reasons, something needed to improve or mature or time needed to pass. And now there's a transformation that's happened and there's an opportunity for renewal here. But for some people, if you're grieving right now, seek whatever help you need, any support you need, and you know, sending so much love and light. Okay, and I was debating on whether I even wanted to pull the lunar cards in this reading, because it is also very solar energy with the solar eclipse. But obviously with all these eclipses, there is the lunar energy as well. That one's sticking out. Confidence is your key to success, new moon in Leo. Bring love into the situation, new moon in Aquarius. And I'm going to pull one more. Maybe that one's almost poking out a bit. Look at the bigger picture, full moon in Sagittarius. So we got the new moon Sagittarius energy coming in, but conclusions are within reach. Full moon eclipse. Full moon eclipse. Oh my goodness, we're in a new moon eclipse right now, but that's awesome. We just had a full moon eclipse. That's awesome. I like that. So conclusions are, yeah, I was getting that energy that for some people, positive things are coming around, you know, confidence, bring love into the situation, look at the bigger picture. We had the success card come out. So for some people, good things are coming in. For some people, there is letting go of something that you can't control. Any grief that you're experiencing from the loss of a loved one who's on the other side now. I don't know if everybody's comfortable with this, but prayers, honestly. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Good things coming in, some difficult things being experienced at the same time. All of it, love and light to all of it. Just sending healing energy. And I'm hoping, what I'm sensing is that, you know, there is going to be a release here, and there is going to be some healing energy. You know, Sagittarius, Leo, Aquarius, these are all very bright, healing focused signs. That's not to say that other signs that are darker aren't also healing. They are, but in like the sense of dredging things up. All eclipses have light and dark, right? It's the light you see, then there's darkness, and then there's light again. So the energy of this eclipse is the light is coming again. Just hang in there in the meantime. You know that healing is coming. You've been through something difficult. That light's going to come right back around. All right, that's your reading, guys.